Iraq's Kurds are determined not to get dragged into a sectarian conflict over the Shiite Prime Minister's attempted arrest of the Sunni Vice President. The Kurdish president spoke to our reporter John Hemming earlier. John joins us now from the phone, on the phone from Arbil. John, before we get into this sectarian conflict, just give us a sense, the sense you got from him, from the president, of how he feels things are progressing in the region in the north.
Well, I think the priority for the Kurds is not to get dragged into this conflict. Traditionally, they've either been observers or mediators in the sectarian squabbles in the rest of Iraq. But this situation with the Vice President Tariq al-Hashemi has dragged them somewhat unwillingly into the center stage of this situation. So their priority is to maintain their peace and security, which they have up here in the north of Iraq, but also, I think, to although it's a very risky game, to try and extract what kind of concessions that they can from the central government for issues which they hold dear for themselves.
And what was Barzani's mood when he spoke about this? Was there a sense of desperation as to what's going on generally? Was there a sense of resignation, of anger?
Not at all. Masoud Barzani has led Kurdish Peshmerga forces from 1979 onwards, fighting Saddam. And he's a veteran of many guerrilla campaigns in the mountains, and he's a very cool customer indeed. When you talk to him, he looks you right in the eye. He listens very carefully to the questions and answers very precisely and concisely. And it's very difficult to get anything from his mood other than his steely determination to do what he can for his people.
In terms of the sectarian strife, he said he's ready to host a conference between the two sides. Any indication from him of when that might be and where that might take place?
No, not directly. What he said is he's willing to host the conference here in Arbil, but he said that there are objections from some parties to hosting it in Baghdad. Meanwhile, government officials say that the Prime Minister, Nouri al-Maliki, is not willing to come to Arbil. And it's my understanding that the President of Iraq, Jalal Talabani, has proposed a compromise of holding it in the city of Kirkuk. And my understanding is that is being discussed at the moment. Also, the other sticking point is that Maliki is wanting the situation of Tariq al-Hashemi, the vice president, cleared up before this conference starts. Now that looks unlikely. So there are a number of major sticking points to overcome before this conference gets underway.
And just to finish out with, John, did you get any sense from Barzani as to what he thinks might be the fate of Hashemi?
Well, he said it should be left to the courts. Whatever the courts should decide, he'll be happy to go along with. Now, bearing in mind, in the past, Hashemi has not been very pro-Kurdish in his statements. And so analysts here say that the Kurds will be unlikely to sacrifice their own interests for the sake of Hashemi.
All right, John, many thanks for talking with us. John Hemming, I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.